Hey guys, welcome to another math video. For this one I'll be talking about subtracting numbers in different bases. So I realized that there is a change of base in logarithms, but I won't be focusing on that. Instead, that'll be in a different video that'll be coming out, releasing later on. For this one I'll be talking about this topic in this course called Math for Elementary Ed. So it's a course for elementary teachers. And when I took the course, a lot of my classmates were having trouble with this particular concept, not specifically with the subtraction, but more of the change of base topic in general. So let's dive right in. So like I mentioned, we'll be subtracting numbers in different bases. So starting off with base 10. Base 10 numbers are numbers that we already use every day. Everyone, everywhere, across the world. We're all using base 10 numbers. Okay, so when we subtract in base 10, we're following normal subtraction rules. The second bullet here is one of the important ones. The numbers you're subtracting have to be in the same base. So if you got a number in base 3 and you're subtracting a number in base 4, you can't do it because they're in different bases. You have to convert to one base or base 10 before subtracting, and then convert to whatever base you need to. So the third bullet here, that's where it gets kind of weird and confusing. So when you borrow, borrowing in a different base is going to be slightly different than borrowing in base 10. Okay, so normally in base 10 we borrow 1, or we borrow 10, and we give it to the smaller value. In a different base, where you're actually borrowing a 1, 0, which is the base, and you're converting backwards, I should say, and you're adding that base value to whatever it is that needs borrowing. And I know that sounds confusing. It sounds confusing trying to just say it out loud, but once you see the example, it'll make a lot more sense. Okay. So here's the first example. It's just regular subtraction. So none of these values here are larger than any of the values here. So remember, in base 10, if anything in the bottom number is larger than the top number, you'd have to borrow, right, in the top number. But since everything is smaller in the bottom, you can just do regular subtraction. So 1 minus 1 is 0, 7 minus 1 is 6, and 6 minus 1 is 5. So you don't have to borrow, you don't have to convert. Okay, so here's our next example. So you notice here in this one, 222 base 9 minus 167 base 9. So starting from the furthest right, which is what we do in normal subtraction, you notice that this bottom number is larger than this top number. So we're going to have to borrow. So how do we do that? We go to the digit to the left, and we borrow a 1, 0. So that will decrease by 1, and we're actually going to add the base to this value. So the base is actually 9. So 9 plus 2 would give us 11. Okay, so you want to keep it like that when you subtract, because if you didn't, you'd just be going back and forth, like, oh, this converts back into a 1, 2, and I gotta carry the 1, but I'm subtracting, so I need to borrow again. So don't convert it back into a base 9 number. Leave it like this, because now this number is bigger than this, and we can subtract. Okay? So that would be the same if it were different bases. So this was a base 4, for example. You'd borrow here, decrease by 1, and you'd add the base back to this. So if it was base 4, it would be 4 plus 2, and that would be a 6. But we're working with base 9, so I'm not going to say any more about the different bases, otherwise you're going to get confused. Okay, so now the next number, 1 minus 6. So you notice that's bigger again, so we're going to have to borrow one more time. That's going to decrease by 1, and we're going to add the base to this. So the base is 9, so 9 plus 1 is 10. Okay, so 10 minus 6 we can finally subtract because now this is bigger. Get another 4, and here they're the same. This isn't larger than this, so it's okay. We can do normal subtraction. 1 minus 1 is 0. So our final answer is 4, 4 base 9. So you see what we did here was we borrowed, we unconverted, I guess you could say, and we added that unconverted number to what was needing the borrowing. So I hope that made sense. If not, you can rewind the video and watch it over again. Okay, so we subtracted. So when we borrowed, you have to add the base to the numbers that's needing the borrowing. Okay, so I hope that that helped make a little bit more sense of the subtraction, because it's a little bit more confusing than the addition. And if you need a little recap on the addition, you can check out that video too. Alright guys, well that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for my next one.